Okay, guys. Sorry about the delay on getting this to you. What I'm going to do is measure this mannequin head for you. And hopefully, I'm hoping that you can see my marks. So, first I'm going to take a different color. This color, if you can't see it that well, it's really not a huge deal because I'm just going to mark my landmarks, which is what I want you to also do in a different color. So I'm just using a washable marker. I'm going to go ahead and mark those 4 landmarks. So I have nasion. Actually, that should show up pretty decent. Preauricular on the left. So for my girl here, you can see right on top of the tragus. You're going to make a line. Same thing on the other side. Actually, this isn't spinning as well as it did before. Tragus, okay. And now I have to create an inion, right? Because my mannequin head here does not have one. So I'm going to take my tape, centimeter side, and I'm going to run it from my preauricular that I just marked through the head back to the preauricular, the other preauricular. And that number is going to kind of be my halfway point. And I'm going to make a horizontal halfway mark. And that, I should kind of look at it. I should be able to look at it to see if it's kind of where it should be. You know, if you wanted to use your clips, clip the hair up, hold that. You know, does it line up kind of with that tragus? And it does. So I'm good. Okay, I have my 4 landmarks. Time to rock and roll. I've had questions about clips. What to do with clips. Can you use them? How do you use them? Clips are your call. So when I was learning, I'm sure I used some clips. I don't use clips now, but I've been doing this for a long time, and ultimately I'm putting the marks right on the scalp. So this hair, it really doesn't get in my way too much. While you're learning and you're shooting for speed and accuracy, clips are definitely not a bad idea. And you can, if you kind of have a clip with a point on it, you can use it as a hair parter, if that helps you. So I'm just going to kind of part her hair down the middle for ease of use and get my inion in line here. Now my girl has been measured a few times. I did shampoo her out to try to get a clean head, and I had some marks on there from back when I was in school, so she still has some marks. But anyway, so I kind of have her hair parted a little bit down the middle. I'm going to go ahead and get my center line going. So what I'm going to do is measure from my nasion to my inion, just like we do on the foam head. And that is about 32 for me. So then I'm going to go up 10%. I'm going to switch over to my other color now. So 10% of 32 is 3.2. This is not the same head that you guys have, so our measurements are likely not going to be the same. I really don't know what size. They're probably very similar, but they're probably not exact. And then I'm going to do the same thing from my inion. Still using that 3.2 number, 10%. From there, all right, so now I'm going from my FPZ to my now OZ. That's at about 26. Half of that is going to be 13. So I'm going to lay down a mark there. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to keep my tape here to make my FZ. So that's going to be the difference between FPZ and CZ, which is the mark I just made. That's going to be about a 6.5. There's my FZ. So right now, I have my FPZ, FZ, CZ, and OZ is done. And my beginning for, OZ, sorry. So now I'm going to get my PZ. So I'm going to go from CZ to OZ, and I'm going to take half of that number, which for me is a 6.5. So I've got my center line. Really didn't do anything crazy with this hair because I'm just writing on her head. But, I mean, while you're working on it, if you want to section that out, I mean, do it. If it's going to help you be more accurate so you can just kind of see what you're doing, eventually you're going to get to a point where it's not going to be so much guesswork because you're going to know your marks are where they ought to be, where you put them, and it's just going to be something that's really familiar. But yeah, if you want to like clip this hair, if you want to use ponytails, I emailed you a thing later on for when we do electrode placement. If you want to, you know, gather up hair in sections and doing ponytails, whatever works for you. It works for me. There's several different ways you can do this. And if while you're learning you need to get that hair out of your way, go right ahead. Okay, so I have my center line. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to cross that FPZ. Actually, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, guys. I'm going to go side to side and do this transverse mark. So in this case, I'm going preauricular to preauricular. So I'm going to show you my one side here. Find my mark right above the tragus. And that's where my tape is going to go. And I'm going to make sure that I go through my mark that I already made at CZ. Go right on down to the other side. It's about a 32. So 10% of that is going to be 3.2. So from that mark at my tragus to about 3.2 is right there. So I just kind of moved the hair over a little bit and made my mark. Same thing on the other side. Ooh, my little clamp is coming off. Some of you have already discovered that real people are easier. But right now we're working on this mannequin head, so let's do it. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop moving her so much. Keep her still. All right. So I'm going to make my mark up. 3.2. And there we go. So I've got my T3 and T4. And I'm going to complete this row now. So find my mark again. If you need to section your hair, that's fine. Make sure I'm going through my CZ. You can even just hold your finger down on that if you need to. Find my mark over here. I'm going to go to my midway. Take half of that. 13. And then I'm going to start my my C3 and C4. So this is going to be my C3, which is, I don't even have to move my tape. I'm going from T3 to CZ to make my C3 mark. It's going to put me at about 6.5. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so if I want to check my work, I'm at a point now where I have 2 rows, okay? I've got my center line and I have this transverse line. I should be able to go through, and on the notes that I sent you, it talked about the distance in between your marks. So if I go FZ to CZ, it's Is it about a 6? FZ to CZ here is also a 6. CZ to PZ, 6. And CZ to OZ is just under 6. So I'm within a centimeter. If I would have been measuring this, and this one was a 6, and then I bump back and I'm at 4.5, that's a problem. I know that I didn't really get it quite as close as I needed to be. And I'd go back and remeasure, okay? Okay. So, that's how you check your work. When you're all finished, you can go through and complete it, or you can kind of check it as you go, either way. I'm going to go and complete my mark at FZ, and I'm going to do that by looking down the bridge of her nose and lining it up. Do you remember how we did that on the foam head? Boom. There we go. Now, I'm going to do the circumference. This would be another point if you feel more comfortable with ponytailing or clipping. You know, if you want to gather her hair up, you know, kind of make a line so you can see the marks that you've already made. If you want to scoop her hair up in a ponytail up here so you can get around here more easily, go ahead. I saw one of my pictures, one of you guys used like a chopstick and stuff to hold her hair. It totally works. I mean, whatever you want, it works. This is your practice, so... All right, so I'm going to do my circumference. I'm going to line up my measuring tape with FPZ. I'm going to go through the marks that I've already made. I'm at about like 49.5 for me. Okay. So then half of that, I'm trying to mark my OZ now. So that's going to be at about just below 25. Make that mark. Now I'm going to do my FP1, FP2, and O1 and O2. So I was just below 25. I'm going to go there, and I'm going to cross it with my tape. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here and cross it with my tape. Okay. And I going back, I find my OZ mark that I made, same thing, about 25, crossing it with my tape. So 2.5 is what I'm shooting for. All right, now I'm going to do my marks through here. I'm going to be making my my F7 and my T5. So now I'm going in between FP1 and O1, okay? I'm going through the mark that I already made in T3. And that is at a 19. That, crossing it with my tape. I'm going to go through and make sure this line is good. We are on the money. Okay, same thing on the other side. So now I'm going O2 to FP2. Halfway mark. I just made my T6. And again, remember, with your F7s and F8s, you're crossing them with your tape. Okay. All right, so this whole area, the whole circumference has been done, okay? So we're ready to move on to our parasagittals. Parasagittals are going to be the ones that are on that diagonal, right? So if you wanted to reclip, you might go through and kind of draw a line here. And it was probably easier to see on the foam head, obviously, because there's no hair on it. But we're going to go, this is FP1, and we're going to bring it to O2. It's on that diagonal. And what's going to be important to remember with going through the points that we've already created, the one that we've already started for this is going to be that C3. So we're going to make sure we want to go to, through C3. So if you're wanting to use your clip, kind of draw a little line through the hair. I'll see if I can turn her so you can see what I'm seeing here a little bit better. I don't think you can see it. Okay. You can see maybe my C3 right here. This is going to be important because that's what I want to bring my tape through, right? So, FP1 through C3, back to O1. And a half of that mark, half of that number is going to mark my C3. And then halfway between my distance of FP1 and C3, that is going to make my F3. Bag it up for the posterior. Same thing. Halfway in between C3 and O1 is going to give me my F3. Then I'm going to do parasagittal on the other side. So, sorry guys, my little table is not working all that well for this demonstration because she's not moving as easily as I'd like her to. But, okay, so again, parasagittal, if you're wanting to clip, make sure you're parting the hair through the mark you've already made, which is over here for me, C3, and you're bringing it all the way to O1. Or excuse me, we're on the right side now. So that's going to be C4 and O2. So FP2, all the way through to O2. And you're going to mark that in half. Go back to C4, bring it back through O2, and half of that mark is going to be your P4. Okay. So what we need to do now are our horseshoes. So in the front, we're going F7 through F8. And we're remembering to go through the points we've already made. Half of that's going to be FZ. In between your FZ and F7 is going to be your completing mark for F3. Bring it back to the middle. Same thing over here for F4. Okay. And then you can go back and check them. Check your distances in between. Are they all within a centimeter? They should be. If they're not, you're going to get dinged at your checkoff. When we come back here to the posterior, maybe I can clip and then flip this head around so you can see what I'm doing back here. Oh, actually with this green marker that you're going to be able to, but you can at least see this half. Maybe, probably not with the dark hair. Okay, so horseshoe. This is T5 through PZ, through my T6. This one you can kind of hold it. Half of that made my PZ. Distance in between here, half of that. That's going to complete my P3. And there we go. P4 is complete, and so are we. So, if you can see, actually I'm going to pick up my camera. I hope this isn't like so choppy, guys. Bear with me. And I'm going to, gosh, I hope I don't make you all sick with all of my moving here. But you can see my center line. Oh, you can't really see it well. PZ in the middle is going to be CZ. See it in the green there? Up in the front